Hello and welcome back to Voice Behind the Case, a space where we slow down, look deeper, and tell the full stories behind tragedies that deserve more than a headline. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please like, comment, and share this video as well. Today's case is one that shocked South Africa and drew international attention because of the disturbing details that emerged. It is often referred to as the Sebayeng Pig Farm Murders. This is the story of two women who went to a farm looking for food and never came back home. What happened on that farm raised serious questions about violence, justice, and the treatment of vulnerable people. The case would later unfold in court with shocking testimonies and conflicting versions of events. For many people, the story was difficult to process because of how cruel and senseless it seemed. But behind every headline are real people, real families, and real grief. So today, we're going to slow down and carefully walk through what happened. The events that led to the Sebayeng Pig Farm murders took place in August 2024 in a rural area outside Polokwane in Limpopo province. The farm at the center of the case was known as Onverwacht Farm, located near Sebayeng. Like many farms in the area, it kept livestock and pigs and operated far away from busy towns. The victims in this case were two women named Makgato and Lucia Ndlovu. Makgato was 45 years old at the time of her death. Lucia Ndlovu was in her mid-30s and had family members who depended on her. On the day of the incident, the two women were not alone when they approached the farm. They were accompanied by Ndlovu's husband, Makgato Kudzai. The group had reportedly gone to the farm hoping to collect expired or leftover food that could be used to feed pigs. In many rural areas, people sometimes collect discarded food from farms for animal feed or personal use. Unfortunately, that ordinary trip would end in tragedy. According to reports that later emerged, the three individuals entered the property in search of expired dairy products. They believed that the food might have been left out or discarded by the farm owners. Their intention, according to accounts later presented in court, was simply to collect the food and leave. However, once they were on the property, they were allegedly confronted by people on the farm. The situation quickly escalated into violence. Gunshots were fired in the direction of the group. The sudden attack caused panic and confusion as the three tried to escape. Makgato Kudzai was shot but managed to run away from the scene despite his injuries. He would later become the only survivor who could explain what happened that day. The two women, however, were not able to escape the violence that unfolded on the farm. Makgato and Lucia Ndlovu were both fatally shot during the incident. What happened after the shooting is what turned this case into one of the most disturbing crime stories in recent South African memory. According to the prosecution's case, the bodies of the two women were not immediately reported to the authorities. Instead, it was alleged that the victims' bodies were placed in a pigsty on the farm. The pig enclosure became a critical part of the investigation that followed. Authorities later discovered that the bodies had severely decomposed when they were found. Reports suggested that the pigs on the farm had consumed parts of the remains. This shocking detail caused widespread outrage across the country. Many people struggled to understand how such an act could take place. The discovery of the bodies raised serious questions about what exactly happened on the farm after the shooting. For the families of the victims, the news was devastating and deeply traumatic. The case quickly began attracting national attention. As the investigation unfolded, 3 men were arrested in connection with the murders. The main accused was the farm owner, Zachariah Olivier. He was accused of being involved in the shooting and the events that followed. 2 other men who worked on the farm were also charged in the case. One of them was Rudolf de Wet, who was a young farm supervisor. The other was William Musora, a farm worker originally from Zimbabwe. All 3 men faced serious charges, including 2 counts of murder. They were also charged with attempted murder because Mabuto Ncube had survived after being shot. Additional charges included possession of illegal firearms and defeating the ends of justice. The accused men appeared in court as the case moved through the legal system. Their arrests marked the beginning of a long and complicated court process. In the months that followed, the case moved through several court appearances and legal developments. At first, the 3 accused men appeared before the Mankweng Magistrates Court. The prosecution began building its case while investigators gathered evidence from the crime scene. The case was later transferred to the High Court in Polokwane because of the seriousness of the charges. As the trial preparations continued, an unexpected development changed the direction of the case. One of the accused, Rudolf de Wet, agreed to cooperate with the prosecution. He turned state witness under Section 204 of the Criminal Procedure Act. This meant that the charges against him were temporarily withdrawn while he testified. In exchange, he was expected to give full and honest testimony about what happened. His testimony would become a key part of the state's case against the remaining accused. During court proceedings, testimony began to reveal different versions of what happened on the farm that day. De Wet told the court that he had fired shots toward the people who had entered the property. He said that he may have fired 2 or 3 shots in their direction. According to his testimony, the shots were fired out of fear when the group approached. However, he also claimed that the farm owner had instructed him to aim toward the suspected trespassers. This testimony became an important moment in the trial. Defense lawyers questioned the accuracy and reliability of his statements. They pointed out that his initial statements to the police were different from what he later told the court. These contradictions became a major focus during cross-examination. The court had to carefully examine which version of events was credible. Another key part of the case involved the survivor Mabuto Ncube. As the only person who escaped the shooting, his testimony was expected to provide crucial details about the attack. Ncube had been shot during the incident but managed to flee the property. After escaping, he alerted authorities and helped them understand what had happened. His account of the events became important for investigators trying to piece together the timeline. Prosecutors believed his testimony could help establish exactly who fired the shots. His survival was also the reason why the accused faced attempted murder charges. Without his testimony, investigators might have struggled to reconstruct the sequence of events. The court prepared to hear his version of what happened on that day. His testimony carried the weight of being the only surviving witness. The case continued to move slowly through the justice system as lawyers debated evidence and witness statements. Several court sessions were postponed to allow both sides to prepare. Ballistics reports and forensic evidence became key parts of the trial. Lawyers for the accused challenged certain pieces of evidence presented by the state. Meanwhile, prosecutors argued that the evidence clearly showed the accused were responsible for the deaths. The trial attracted widespread public attention, especially because of the shocking details surrounding the disposal of the bodies. Many people followed the case closely as it unfolded in the Polokwane High Court. Media coverage also highlighted the emotional impact the case had on victims' families. For those families, the legal process was another painful chapter in an already tragic story. The court proceedings were expected to determine who was responsible for the killings. Beyond the courtroom, the Sebayeng Pig Farm Murders sparked national conversations about violence, poverty, and justice. Many people pointed out that the victims had gone to the farm simply looking for food. Their deaths raised questions about how vulnerable people are treated when they cross into private property. Others focused on the brutality of what allegedly happened after the shooting. The idea that human remains could be placed in a pig enclosure shocked people across the country. Community members and activists called for accountability and transparency in the investigation. The case became a reminder of how quickly ordinary situations can turn deadly. It also showed how complex and emotional criminal cases can become. For the families of the victims, the public discussions could never replace the loved ones they lost. Their grief remained at the center of the story. As of 2026, the Sebayeng Pig Farm murder case has still not reached a final verdict, and the trial is still continuing in the High Court in Polokwane. In recent hearings, the court has been examining ballistic evidence and statements made by the accused after their arrest. There has also been what lawyers call a trial within a trial, where the judge must decide whether certain statements made by Olivier can legally be used as evidence in court. Because of these legal arguments and witness schedules, the case has been postponed several times. The court has now scheduled the matter to continue between the 6th of July and the 9th of July 2026, when more witnesses are expected to testify. Until the court hears all the evidence and delivers a judgment, the case remains ongoing and the final outcome is still unknown. Thank you for watching Voice Behind the Case. If this story moved you, please remember to subscribe, like, and share so that more people can learn about these cases. Until next time, please stay safe, look out for one another, and remember the people behind the headlines.